me. I'm fucking long, I go for the gusto, that's 6 for me. Right when I cross the TD, I drop down and I take a knee. I'm giving God all the glory for giving the grace to me. Like I take a knee every morning and thank him for waking me. I take a knee.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we want to thank everybody for just showing up tonight here on this Wednesday, Burbank, the studios of UBNGO with Tony Sweet, the engineer and the CEO of the whole place, my brother.
Tony
Yes,
Sweet.
making sure it's going to get done today. Guys, it's going to be an awesome night tonight. We're going to do a few things just a little different because we got people, we got a lot of people aboard, so it's going to be fun just to for them to be able to see and see exactly what we're doing. What we normally do is we go through a array of updates, but we decided to cut that a little short, and we're going to talk about what we're doing right now with the project group, the Project 3 Elite group. We popped that thing. Tony, you're going to love what we're going to talk about right here because you know how they have the 7-on-7s? Tony does a good thing of supporting the youths in their 7-on-7 tournaments in high school down in San Diego. So what the project has done, and we've been, in a sense, it's been a mindset and by Coach Mia, and he put together about let's do some 9s. So all we're doing is we're going to have no tackles, and then and it's a rush on the quarterback. You got a center guards, and it's just like 7-on-7. But now the quarterback can't sit there, so it's a 9. So what is in is they're starting the first 9s in the United States, and then you're actually get the first guy that's outside of us to know that we're having the 9s, and they opened it up and. What we have is a Sura right here, and him and his wife, Perlina, and they're going to touch base a little bit about what's going on with the 9. So, Sura, just thank you guys very much for popping in with us.
We appreciate the opportunity, Coco and Tony. We appreciate the opportunity as well. Just like Coach Coco said, if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't have this platform right now. And just like us, we're all about the youth and what we do with the youth. So, just with the Project 9. We kind of input the important piece of the football team, which was the linemen. Instead of separating the skills with the line, we kind of said, hey, let's just take out the tackles, have the 3 O linemen, and have the 2 D linemen, and kind of put that into play with what was going on with the 7-on-7s and stuff. So instead of separating them, we're just kind of keeping the team together to keep that going, throughout the off season. And then fall comes, they don't lose a heartbeat. And
I like that.
That's going. So,
I like that.
So the biggest thing on the safety factor is getting good refs out there. Certified high school refs was our biggest thing. So that's what we did. We ran the first tournament this past Sunday. Everything went well. The feedback and all the interviews we did, everybody loved it. It just teaches technique and offense. Now you don't have the equipment, so you're not bound to lead with your shoulder, do all the bad stuff. Lead with your shoulder when you're blocking. So a lot of his linemen, the quarterback has to now step up, go through progression. So the throws are not. You're not just sitting back there on 7-7. We just sit back there and throw off a buzzer. So that's not happening. They're not comfortable. So we get good guys that are quarterbacks in 7-on-7, but when they threw it in this game, they threw 3 picks.
Yeah.
Threw it over their head, they had to move. So that's what we're doing with the Project 9, trying to keep it to where it's game-like in the fall.
Yeah.
So that way they don't lose that step, and everything is technique-wise. You're just learning as you go to the fall. So.
Yeah, that's my kind of 7-on-7 right there.
Yeah, man.
Don't let the quarterback sit back there, bake cakes all day, and look clean and pretty.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, man. Waiting for the ding.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, we got that going. Just like I said, the refs made it really safe by just having the refs knowing the rules. There are rules in place to keep it to where it's doesn't get violent and things like that. So we got that going and hopefully get it going.
And one of the things that Sir is kind of not even saying is, as this thing starts, we want to be able to say, as it grows, we should be able to make this thing grow too. That there should be a 9s tournament down in San Diego, a 9s up in the Bay Area. Right. So those things are all coming into play, and we're getting into the phase of not kicking out the 5s or kicking out the 7-ons, but just adding the 9s. and getting it more realistic as it gets realistic to kickoff time. You know,
Right.
so we're just trying to get that thing out. And Heidi and anybody that's out there, who's out there, this it can travel, it can work out. So, you know, get a piece of it, get excited with it because it's the new fashion. And then with that too, another quick update is my family. You know, we do the RTG. You know, we got the ready to go, the seasoning. So we want to make sure that we always give Robin, Walla, Jackie, and Alma a quick, nice shout out. My nephew Carlos for doing all the graphic arts work. But RTG, it's still out there. And then, you know, we've been thinking about what do we got to do also for, you know, they got these D-line camps. They got the O-line stuff. So we said, okay, let's do a linebacker progression. We did that, but we said let's add the defensive line and add the defensive backs and have a 12-week progressive session and just put everything in, concepts all the way across the board. So we did that, and we launched it on Monday night, and it was awesome at Chenam Hills High School. We really want to thank Coach Terry. He's also the athletic director, Dan Binion, for getting the staff to go out there. And then we had roughly, you know, right around 20, I think it was 28 plus kids. And for the first night, it was awesome. So just want to be able to say thank you guys out there at Chenam Hills High School. For those that are watching, come and learn, just learn concepts, learn what a 3 technique, learn what a 2 cut side is, learn how to play, you know, with your eyes and your peripheral and understand the point of that. So come out there and get a piece of the. We don't say we drop nuggets, you know. And Mr. Jefferson's going to come on, and we don't drop nuggets, we don't drop gems, we drop seeds. You know, nuggets is a little chip off of something that was great. So what we want to do is we want to be able to drop something that's going to grow, and then it's going to manifest, and then that's your legacy. You know, when you're gone, is what are the seeds that you drop? So we are truly blessed tonight. And at this point, we always say, you know, at this time, we want to thank Tony Jefferson for giving us the opportunity to do this and do that. Hey, but it's here, and we truly do want to thank you. You know, and you being here, it's awesome. So and looking at this segment, Tony, you know, we know that there's those transitions and there's a few things that are rolling, but more importantly, as this thing rolls, we're trying to get a film to get going on right now. I think that might be it as we roll the thing in, but getting to be where you're at right now in the chair that you're sitting, you know, was it really the chair that you were thinking you were going to be sitting in 2 years ago? Was it really the chair that you thought that you wanted to be? Or is this where you really wanted to be when you started to taste the love from Oklahoma, you know, right out of high school? And then a lot of kids, they get into that thing and their mindset starts to change. I say this about all you guys at the age that and where you guys are at. Your generation's incredible. You know, it could be solid in one avenue and then kind of lack a little bit on another, but it's solid. And if you looked at what has happened during the course of all these changes globally, you seem to come out with your head on top, and it seems to be as we start to really learn who Tony Jefferson is your head's always been up top, but it seems to always have to work a little higher for people to notice who Tony is, and I think that right there has a lot to do, you know, with a few things that had probably happened in high school, you know, your upbringing, and I just want. Hey Tony, are we gonna be able to get that video up of him on that? Mm-hmm. So I don't know if you guys are seeing it, but as we look at that, is that you, Patrick, up right here? So when you get to that point right there, Tony, can you just touch base on just reflecting in a quick one, you know, where you're at right now, and those quick transitions. That way we can kind of see your story, then dive into it.
I mean, you want me to start from the beginning, from high school? Is what you're saying?
Yeah, I want to hear about, you know, about your family. I want to hear about, you know, certain individuals that's touched you, that's helped, because everybody does have their family, which we know is solid. And then eventually you get a gang of people. But where are you right now in sense of having to filter out your bucket, having to filter out the people that's right with you, and then how did that all come into play? So if you can start off just the influences of your family to get you through what that film just showed, all of that point right there, because we really feel that you have a solid foundation that's within, the confines of your upbringing. So we want to touch that.
Yeah, no doubt. As you know, and if people don't know, family is really big to me, really important. I take it very serious, and I've like you said, I've had a solid foundation. I've been blessed to grow up in a household with my mom and my dad, and I've gotten to see, exactly, when things get tough, I know exactly where to lean on. I know who I can call, and it's been those two. And even when I was younger, it wasn't always gravy, but I did always know that I had something in football. I never missed a year of football really until I got injured in the NFL. So I started playing since I was 4, primarily because my older brother was playing, Andre. He used to be at school, and I was like in kindergarten, and I would put his shoulder pads on, and I would literally be playing football by myself, tackling, falling against the wall, animations, all types of stuff. My parents, they just let me be. And it's funny because the same thing I was doing at that age, my little son, he's doing the same thing. So I know it's something, that God has blessed just, genetically, and that he's passed down, that we have a love for this game. So I always knew that football was more than just a sport for me. It was something that was just attached to my heart. And it was just something that I always loved. I remember I broke my hand when I was in 7th grade. I broke my wrist actually in the second quarter. And I cried and cried because my coaches were trying to take me out. And they finally let me back in. They wrapped my wrist back up. At the end result of my wrist, I had broken my growth plate, my wrist, in like 2 or 3 different places. But I continued. I'm in 7th grade. I continued to play in the game. I finished it out, and I scored like 3 more touchdowns. And I went to the hospital. They wrapped it up, put a cast on it, and 3 weeks later, I got a knife, and I'm trying to cut it open because we've lost 3 games in a row. So I want to get back out there with my team. So I got a knife, and I'm literally cutting it. And I get a ride with my buddy. We're trying to the game. I told my parents I'm just gonna ride with my buddy. And so I get there, and I'm telling my coach, I'm like, yeah, the doctor said I could play. They're like, what are you doing with your cast? I'm like, yeah, the doctor said I could play. They're like, so why is it still on? I was like, I don't know. I just like cut it out a little bit. And I ended up not playing. It was against Imperial Beach that game, but we ended up losing the game. We didn't win another game that season. And like I said, I was in 7th grade at that time, and I just remember the hunger that I had just from being injured and how much it hurt me not being out there playing. And I think it was at that moment, 7th grade was my first year when we had moved to Eastlake. I think at that moment, that was when I started to realize, there's something deeper in this game for me. So that's really just kind of like the foundation, and like me realizing at a young age that like a sport had such an effect on me, deeper than really anything I really cared about at that age, to be in 7th grade. So yeah, that's where we at.
That's awesome to hear that, because they say that you sometimes you're just born with a football. You're born with that. Yeah. You're born with that mindset, and truly that's just really what you described. But in football, Tony, you touch base on family, the foundation there, and I think football, what it does is it gets all of us to get embraced in certain levels of football. So when you get on a team, there's that team family concept. And then right. Then you got your DB brotherhood, and you got a whole defensive concept, but it really gets micro, and it really starts to work itself into its layers. So when you look at family, then all of a sudden within that, That's the beauty of football, because then you get to walk in other people's doors. You get to walk in other cultures, and you get to culturally dive in. And one of the cool things that we do here is we always touch base about, I say that the only reason why I'm here because Robin gives me an opportunity to come. It's my time that she lets me out, and when we say that, are you ready for this? And then people they're going to say that their wives are finally let them get out. So we have to change the script because, otherwise you're going to blitz off the edge and you're going to get us because, it becomes a rep that you're just doing it by habit. You got no nails because you got a habit. You're biting them all the time, But what's cool in here is you get to grow, and then you also get to take that home, and you also get to, like Heidi, when I go home, my granddaughter now, she fits in the Canada sweatshirts, so it's awesome. When I first went to Canada, I got embraced by the Canada family, so we always say that that's our northern family and we're their southern family. So there's Heidi right there here representing. But when when we talk about families, Tony, you were got hooked up and connected with my nephew Patrick Harin, and those two families as really intertwined. They kind of braided a life within each other. And can you touch base on the influence that that family that they have on you?
Oh yeah, that's 100%. That's my second family right there. I mean, I think everybody in the Harin family knows my nickname is Tony Harin. I think I've been to ever since I met Patrick in ninth grade. When we were in high school, I don't think I ever missed a family party, or I was at the family reunions and I was there. I was front line with the Harins, man. I was a Harin, and Patrick, he's been my best friend ever since I met him. We met in a playoff game on the bus. I heard someone crying. I asked him what was going on. Someone had passed in his family, and from then on, I mean, our conversations just never ended. And I was staying at his house more than I was staying at my house at one point in high school. We would literally just sit on the bed, watch 300, play Call of Duty. Before every game, we had our ritual where we get our toast, mayonnaise, and we get some tapatio.
Yeah.
And that was our pregame meal, and we were going. And we did it every game. Even when we were wearing our away uniforms with our white, and we spilled tapatio on it. We just told everybody it was blood from the game. So we just really had a good time, man. Just enjoying the love that we have for each other, brotherly love. And it is truly like blood, like he's my blood brother. And, Rolando was a big influence, obviously, in the beginning, to start my career off, even introducing me to you, going up to see D. Reed up there at not Palomar. What is it? What school was that up in Pasadena. So
that's when you used to come on up. Remember D. Reed?
Hey, D. Reed was fire, bro. D. Reed was fire.
And that was our USC,
the linebacker.
And we liked Pasadena, Coco, more than we liked USC at that time. We were admiring those guys that were up there, and Rolando, for Amanda to take in someone else as a son, and be willing to put me out there, and get my name out there with colleges, and because I don't necessarily know for sure if it wasn't for him if my name would have been out there like that. So I always and still do give him just great honor just for being able to accept me like that into his home, and to be with his family, with Atlanta, obviously my other mom and my sisters too. So I think they're their impact in my success and just keeping me uplifted, when things were going down. I know when I was home, I think the only, besides my parents and brother and family, the only other people I really wanted to be around was the Hadid, and Kings, Michael Hadid. But it's but it's like I said, man, I've been truly blessed just to be able to call all you guys family. So
it's awesome because like I've known Tony, he would come up and he'd be hanging out with the college team right there on the sideline as a little kid when I was coordinating. But really, I throughout this whole time, I kind of just been a fan of Tony Jefferson. And then one day we talked, and he shared a few things, and you got a good ear, so he had a good ear. And then he had mentioned about what we're doing right now, this podcast, and he was inquisitive about it, and we shared with him what we were going to do, and he volunteered and said, let's get that thing up and running. And so we're talking here today. But what's cool is he talks about family, but that effect that family has now, Patrick, you're on a little bit, and I want you just to share a little bit what Tony Jefferson has done for your life, and along what has his family done for you guys, because it's not a one-way avenue on this one, guys. It's going both ways, and it's happening, and it's awesome to see those fibers, join within. So to touch base a little bit on that real quick, Pat.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that was I don't know. I think it was definitely a blessing, like what Tony said. When we first met, it was when Aunt Mary passed away. It was after Oceanside game, and it just hit me. I pretty much was crying on the way up to the game, and I cried on the way back down, and that's when we started that conversation. And I think just and then being introduced to the Jefferson family, it's still crazy to me that when we first started, Josiah was just born. I think he was like 3 or 4 months old. Now he's like 6'5", which is crazy. But I think throughout our whole friendship and relationship that we built through this time, it's kind of opened my eyes to try to do better for myself as well too. I think what I have accomplished was just trying to make everyone proud on that end, because I had to take a different path on that end. And he's been there from the thick and thin when the time I couldn't play ball anymore to, me finishing up school and just kind of motivating me to do masters and everything else, and seeing his success that he had on the field. And I think the one hardest thing that I always remember was because that we were there, especially that draft day. I think that was a day that was probably like the hardest day, just seeing in his eyes the fire that just brought to him, just because of the fact that all 32 teams gave up on him, and he never gave up on himself. So, and I think that's like what Tony said, by having Pastor and Miss Jefferson behind his back and everything else, and Janelle being, that solid foundation for him and his family. It made me want to build a family, something like that, where they have a strong love for each other.
That's awesome. That's awesome to hear that. And James is sitting right here with us. James pops in. I coached his son at Centennial. His son, Ethan, was a first-team All-CIF Southern Section linebacker this year, and a Defensive Player of the Year in the league.
Because of you, man.
I always tell the guys I've never made one tackle or done any of that stuff, but they're the ones that went to school, got the grades, made the plays, got their names called. They did everything that they had to do, to get their name called. But when you hear this, James, and you hear that happening between both families, how does that touch you to know what's going on in hearing that?
At the time we don't realize that people affect each other.
Yeah.
Right. We just think we're going and passing, and you might bond with somebody, but look at over the years, and I mean, they definitely influenced each other, and Tony definitely influenced Patrick, and I'm sure Tony couldn't have gotten where he needed to be mentally without Patrick's support.
Absolutely.
So it's a testimonial right there of what's going on. And it's the same with how you influence me and my family and my children. So it's really like we have to remember how people influence us, but it's tough to do because things are just moving so fast.
Exactly. That's
Right.
why this is called the transitions and then the pivots. You know, when it's time to open them hips and go, you got to open them hips and go. But you got to feel it coming before you have to open it.
Yes,
You know, so what happens with that is just reps. You can take a right at your right side of your house and never knew you took that turn because you just do it. You know, so at the point of attack, you know, at Tony being a professional athlete and all that, it started by going to Oklahoma. You made a choice to Oklahoma, you know, and you made a commitment over there, and then you had to travel. That's a California kid going out there.
Man.
You know, so why? Why Oklahoma, Tony? I want to hear this.
Hey, I will say I was in Oklahoma, but I was almost back in California 3 weeks after I got there. Because it was a complete culture shock for me. I had never experienced anything like that. I thought I'd be prepared once I got out there, just because, you know, at that time I'm 17. I graduated early, just so I can get to college a semester early. But how I got to Oklahoma, well, my very first offer was from Jim Harbaugh when he was with Stanford. That was my very first offer. I went up there to a full contact campus. Back then, that's really all I was interested in. If they didn't have pads on, I didn't want to go to the camp because I didn't really.
The nines.
I didn't really care. I didn't really care to see what everyone could do with them shorts on. So if there wasn't pads, I wasn't. So I knew obviously the Harbaughs would be hosting a full contact camp. So I went in Stanford, and I had a great camp. And after practice, he comes up to me and he offers me a scholarship. And that was my first one, so I was excited and I committed. So I will tell you, throughout my process, there was a lot of committing and decommitting, whether it was publicly put out there or not. But you know, I had a lot of offers, I'll say that. And then after my commitment to Stanford, my next commitment was to USC. I was in love with, obviously, the fact that Reggie Bush, Lindell White, Brian Cushing, Taylor Mays, all those guys were the guys that Ray Maluga. Like, these were the guys we were watching. Me and Pat Clay Matthews, we're watching.
We love Taylor Mays.
we were obsessed with Taylor Mays. I mean, if you look at any of my high school pictures, you can see my swag that I used to wear on the field just slowly migrate each game more towards Taylor Mays with the finger tape, face mask, the whole shebang. So, you know, I was really in love with the campus, the school, the tradition. And I committed there. And then Rick Neuheisel came by. He was sweet talking to me, you know, telling me all the good things I wanted to hear. And the funny thing is, I ended up committed to UCLA. All right. Wow. Like I said, I was switching schools like a senior going to prom with their dress. I was just switching. I liked everything. Coach, everything the coaches would tell me, I was liking. I was like 16 years old at this time. So, I ended up being committed to UCLA. This is like the longest tenured I've been. Pat ends up going to UCLA, so I'm going up there almost every other weekend to hang out with Pat. So I'm basically like becoming like really good friends with the guys on the team, Patrick's roommates. Like, I'm like, oh, UCLA is nice. I like it. I can't wait to get here. But then, like I said, I'm like 16, about to be 17, and these coaches really getting on me, telling me all the stuff I want to hear. You could play running back. You could do this. Colleges were telling me, oh, you could come here. You play both ways. So now, sorry, UCLA, my mind's all over the place again. I get on the phone with Urban Meyer, and, you know, Florida's no joke at the time. And I verbally committed there. verbally committed to Florida.
Man.
verbally committed there. For a little bit, couldn't wait to get there.
You got a bunch of coaches mad at you, probably, right? Still.
Oh, hey, they the one offering me. They're free to me. So.
But why Oklahoma? Why
Yeah,
Oklahoma?
I'm getting there. I'm getting there. So at this, it's my last year. I'm just taking visits just because I got free visits. So I'm like, I'm just gonna take a visit to Oklahoma. I go there. I end up having a pretty bad visit. My host took me out to a party and he left me, and I had to call the coach at like 1:30 a.m. to come pick me up. So I'm like, yeah, I'm for sure not coming here. And then I go back home. Urban Meyer he's sick, so he leaves. And then while I'm at the Army All-American Bowl, Pete Carroll gets in trouble with the sanctions and everything. So now I'm looking at what school has a coaching system that's not going to fall apart. And Bob Stoops, he had been there. They were a couple of years off of being at a championship. And I decided that was the best spot for me to go at that time, and I just went.
Nice. And then you get there, you get to wear number 1.
Yeah.
Right?
And the older guys didn't really like that. I'll tell you that.
Exactly. You know, Tony, but when that's all done, you know there's going to be some football, you know, in another level, and it didn't come at the way you wanted it. But you've learned that as a young kid. Not everything comes the way you want it. You know, it's going to show up the way it's going to show up. And once it unfolds, that's the GPS. They say, Coco, you know, what's kind of your GPS? Well, my GPS, I just say God provides sight. So for me is if you let it unfold, you're going to be able to see it. You know, don't rush ourselves into that thing, but you're going to be able to see it. But at that point too, you know, you're thinking about all this stuff, and then you're in love with your high school sweetheart.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're in love with your high school sweetheart. So then all of a sudden, you know, you're in the league, and all of a sudden there's a wedding, there's a wife, there's family, there's kids, and how's that transition? What did that do for you?
Oh man, yeah, I got extremely lucky meeting my wife Janelle, 10th grade. She was in 9th grade. She wanted.
Rocking the cradle right there. Oh, my
in the beginning stages, she wanted nothing to do with me. She was giving me the cold shoulder when I first met her. But
100%.
100%. I was getting a cold shoulder, but I mean, there's no way I'd be where I'm at without Janelle and what she's done for me. On and off the field, man. I don't know. I honestly think I'd be a lost cause right now if I didn't have Janelle by my side and just blessing me with my firstborn, my son, who's 7 now. I see a lot of me in him and a lot of the things he does, which kind of creeps me out sometimes. But we were also blessed to have twin girls.
Wow.
Never in a million years I thought I had twins, and it happened. That those million years came, and they're here, and they're just a blessing. And they're the deepest and closest things in my heart, and I know I'd do anything for them. And I think they know that even now at their young age, just how they gravitate to Dad, and they know the pure love that is getting spread from both their parents. So
I think that's awesome, Tony. You know, and that is definitely not the guy that's out there in his first 3-4 years of football. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
you can see the transition. You can hear where Tony's kind of gone in those steps. But now you look at you're a veteran. You're a damn veteran at a young age. You know what I mean? And then you get to talk to these young kids that are right there, and they go for you for that wisdom. You know, and what's cool is your wisdom's it's an enhanced wisdom. It's not a wisdom of a 29-year-old or a guy that you just turned 30. So, you know, it's not that wisdom. You have grown in the steps of wisdom. So it's pretty awesome that you've gotten to visually see and in the senses hear all that wisdom that's come to you. So in a sense, going into what you're doing now, your legacy, how do you leave? What do you do? Do you go back to school to get your final? There's a lot of things that's come through your mind, but you have to narrow those things down and figure out, what are the steps, ask for that guidance to come. But you give back to the community. It's pretty awesome. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And being in that legacy, you are now, in a sense, you're a legend. You're a legend down in where we're at. Where I grew up. And I talk to people. I'm having Tony Jefferson, the coach. How do you know him? Well, da 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 da. But you are a legend, so you're in that now, that legends only club. But you're not that guy that just has that family within underneath your roof. The cool thing is now you give back. And giving back, you have the Tony Jefferson camps. You're doing the powered. We're here with the powered by Tony Jefferson. So can you touch base on you just giving back to the to different, hearing it out and knowing in your heart, praying on that thing, and what drives you to stay with your foot in all the growth of what's coming up?
I mean, I appreciate those words too, but mainly for me, as I continue to grow, and not just, like I said, the older I've gotten, and I've been to 3 different locker rooms now, which I'm going on should be year 10, but this will be year 9 of playing. But going to just being in these locker rooms, it started to hit me when I got to Baltimore, when I seen all these young guys come up to me and calling me OG, like, man, if you got some time, man, I really want to chop it up with you and talk to you, just about like your whole story and like how you got here and just like what you're continuing to do. And like when I'm having these conversations, like these kids are really locked in and like listening and like really trying to take heed to it. It really shocked me too. My last year in Baltimore, every year we do rookies want to get. They put in a request for a veteran to be their basically like their big brother. And one of the guys in the front office came downstairs and told me and said, "Hey man, you had the highest amount of requests for the rookies, man." And I was like, "What, for real?" And they're like, "Yeah, man, pretty much more than half the young guys, they put in requests for you to be their big bro." And I was really taken away by that. And that really put it in perspective for me, just how impactful I can be just by, what I've done in the situations that I've been in, just explaining to them and allowing them to see where my mind was at mentally during those situations. Because I think everybody, at some point, everybody's going to have some type of predicament they're going to have to overcome, whether what the size of that is and what the difficulty of overcoming that is. It varies, but I've always felt like the foundation that you have at home and then your mindset, what you decide to do, instead of like, for me, I just started to say, I'm gonna just make a decision, right? I'm not gonna want to do this tomorrow. I'm deciding that tomorrow I'm gonna do it. So once I started having that mindset of deciding instead of like wanting to do something, things started getting done, and then things started getting done progressively in the way that I wanted them to. So to get back to your point, how do I feel about impacting the kids and doing all that, and what makes me do that is just the pure joy of that, the fact that I can impact another human being. And that's really, I mean, it doesn't really need another explanation from that, just because I think that's one of the biggest things you can do as a human, is positively affect another human. So I take pride in that, and when I have the opportunity to do so, I don't take a chance to mess that up.
That's awesome to hear that, because for about the last 2 or 3 podcasts, we've been talking about just in sense authentically and genuinely giving. authentically and genuinely just passing on your grace,
Right.
and giving it to the next one. And in a sense, as we start to filter our lives, and they start to, get infectious with other people's lives, you tend to find out that you start surrounding yourself as you get older, a little wiser, with the people that you have your commonalities with. So in listening to what you're doing, and I can see why you're the number one guy they want to go to, because a lot of those got in there, they got drafted, they're ready to roll. So, we say in what we just finished, it always does, it always comes out. It always comes out in that block of that we just finished doing right now. It's all about relationships, those tax sessions, taking a knee and understanding. So we say to get to the crown, you gotta start from the ground. But you have to visually, you gotta know that that's what I want to get done. And you said it. I'm just decided I'm gonna get it done, and I got it done. So you placed yourself up there. Now you had to work it and get it done. And we say it. Out of this segment, what's got to get out of this segment? They got to have a relationship through their tax sessions, and they got to have the ability to get to the crown right from the ground. And you did it. You witnessed it, and you did it. At this phase, you're at the halfway point real quick. And in a football game, you go in the halfway point. You want to get rid of something. You don't want no more in the first half. You want to keep a couple things that's going to keep you solid to get you right where you're at. But you're ready to do it up again because it's 0-0. So in what we're at right now, how do you address everybody underneath your umbrella? How do you manage? Real quick though, how do you manage? You really get to do it because you got the reps now. You got that knowledge, and people are willing to go to you because you're sitting behind that desk. You've seen it, you've done it. So how do you handle the family activities? You got you got twins. You got your son, which was pretty awesome. You couldn't come up here. Because why? You're giving back to your son. I just saw a quick video where the kids were taking a knee. They were taking a knee and listening to Tony. And truly, they were accepting knowledge. That was awesome. It was so authentic. It was so genuine. But you did that, and then you manage those family activities. Your training. You know that you have to be able to put a little block in there. You have to get out. You got to get out and get going. You got to feel excited, have a little pep in your walk to get into that gym. But you got to know exactly what the crown is because you're working it from the ground. And you're doing that, Tony. It's awesome. And then your mindset says, I got to get back. When it's all said and done, I'm important. So, reason why you mentioned about going back and finishing up your degree at Oklahoma, because you're a finisher. You're a finisher. That's easy. It's not that it's on the shelf. It ain't ready to go because right now you still on your gig, and that's why these Tetris blocks are so important that you can, make a call here, do that here, and you've learned to manage yourself. What hell I'm trying to do right now at 60, gonna be 63. You just turned 30, and you got your shelves are all nice and cleaned up. Then at this point, when you get into this thing, you're really providing a new way to compete within the game. That's why you're doing different things. That's why your village is no longer a whole hooray of everything. You know exactly where you're going to go to. You know what you're going to get out of that. You know the production that's going to come. So your decisions are solid because you don't have no time to waste. You're on a Tetris thing. So what's next for Mr. Jefferson in the second half of your life? What we want to hear is how does that knowledge is being passed forward? To the youth kids, to your son. That finished mindset. You created your own toolbox. You don't have to even look in that toolbox to be able to adjust anything that you need to adjust on a football field. And that's been able to transfer into a life. So at this phase right now, knowledge is awesome, but this is where we do a little tack time. And that tack time right there is just what comes to mind real quick when you hear a name or something. So I think the heart of your life and things you're doing now is when people ask you about your children.
When people ask me.
Yeah. So when you think of your children, you think of your son, you think of your twins. What has that done as far as an impact in making a transition and for you to get into a pivot to become, not that dad of your first son. You have the first one, you still got your swag. You still got all that, but then they dropped 2 on you in one shot. Now you're at 3. What are you gonna do now?
Yeah, we went from party of 3 to party of 5, just like that. And when the girls came, obviously when my son came, that was obviously a big adjustment for me as well. I mean, he has my name. I mean, even when he was a young, just born, I can already feel his energy in my arms as he lay still. I just felt like his energy, and he changed me. And then these 2 girls, man, they just I can't walk around the house without having to pick one up or having one on my hip. So everything I do certainly is in regards to this family's household. So every move I make at some point down the road, it affects them. So I realize that, and so everything that I do now, I try and make sure I take it step by step, because everything I do, like I said, is important, not just for me, but for 4 other people. For now.
So in a sense, what you just described is your decommitting days are over. That I made a commitment. So, no one's mad at you right now, Tony, for what you're doing, and that is awesome that you columned it, meaning that uniquely they all have an effect in your fibers. They all have an effect in you and your wife and what you guys are doing to establish solidness within the home. So, if you were to look back at a teacher in high school, what one teacher would you say that was awesome with you?
I'd have to go with Miss Hughes. I mean, my favorite teacher was Miss Barunda by far, but the most impactful teacher I had was Miss Hughes. She was my AP English teacher, and that was the only AP class I had, and she was the only reason I was able to get a good score in the reading and English part of my SAT. I had never been pushed like this by a teacher. I never had a teacher keep it as real and upfront with me as a teacher than how she did. I just remember second day in there, and I'm not going to sit here and say I was a good or great student. There was times where I just wanted to get by because I was so ready to get to the next step. And, I was caught up in enjoying high school, but Miss Hughes, she definitely had a great impact on me, just pushing me on that level, on the educational level, further than anybody has ever done.
Awesome. That's good. Congratulations, Miss Hughes, for having a foot in that ass and making sure that it was right. Man, that's nice. So when you look at this thing, parents, you touch base about parents, but there's 2 of them. I want to hear what a mama. What kind of feeling is that when you leave at 17 years old and you're at Oklahoma and you're making these decisions, and you leave your mom?
Yeah.
Touch base on your mom and the inspiration and what she does for you too.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. My last night in San Diego before I left, I went out and partied. I came back home and I was all juiced up. I told my mom, I'm like, man, I can't wait to leave in the morning, go to college, blah blah blah. I can't wait. And just like I said, 3 weeks later, I'm spending that financial aid money trying to come back home on the first flight home. And it was funny because the roles have reversed. Because when I left, my mom was crying like a newborn was born or something. And And then a few weeks later, I'm like, I miss my mom. I miss being at home. So my mom, I like, for most people don't know because I have a little brother now, but I was the baby for the longest until I was in 8th grade. So um, we all know that that last child is really spoiled. My mom really made sure when dad said no, there was a possibility mom would say yes. That's kind of how that went. Um, and you know, she always just had my back, and she still does. I don't even. She still doesn't understand the game of football. When she watches football, she's just in panic mode, just hoping I don't get hurt or something like that. So it's pure motherly love. Most will say I'm a mama's boy.
Awesome. They don't need to say it. You described it. Okay, so that was awesome, didn't it? And he did it just like, this is what I do, man. Watch. No, that was awesome. So hey, second half, you never know because you go into some different things. So Patrick, when we're in the second half, you guys are in the second half. There's going to be a sudden change. There's going to be a turnover. So in your concept, you got a foundation. You know what I mean? You have a foundation. So in your work to win mindset, your championship vision, what did you see? What did you see, Tony, and knowing that I can't do my gig in Indianapolis, I got to get back home where I feel comfortable in my own bed, I see my kids. You know, all those things add to who you are now. You're a veteran. You know what I mean? You're a veteran. So now you make the right decisions. What guided you to DC Athletics to know that was going to be what you needed to be able to have a foundation to add to your toolbox right there?
Yeah. So there was a time where I was on the fringe of healthy and not really healthy, and there was times where I felt like if I didn't get back in the game now and I sat it out, then the league will forget about me. And that was the toughest mindset thing I had to deal with, as far as balancing negative thoughts, because regardless, like you said, when you're down, you're going to have negative thoughts. And I think the formula to like overcoming that is just balancing it with realistic positive thoughts. And I think once I went to Indianapolis and you know, I decided, you know what, I'm not going to rush this. I'm a veteran. I made a little paper. I'm good. I have a family at home that I can tend to. Beautiful family. Is this a right move to rush this? Should I sign this right here and stay here, or should I go back home, continue to rehab, continue to get better, and do what and just follow my heart? And I did. I followed my heart. I trusted my instincts, and I think that's one thing that I think I can say to myself is a skill that I have is instincts. I've always heard that word since I've been a Pop Warner on the field.
You display that too.
Yeah, and it didn't start hitting me till I realized I have the ability to trust my instincts outside the field as well, in real life, and making that decision of trusting my instincts, I think might have saved and prolonged my career.
You know that's awesome to hear, because when you look at that thing, is really at this phase is, what do you hang your hat on? You know, the bottom line is, if you don't have a solid foundation, then you're going to be everywhere. You're going to be a fox. You know, you're not going to be a solid hedgehog that just understands what he's doing. So, and understanding that you keep your circle, you keep your team. You know, we say in team there's no I. You know, you hear that thing, but we always say this here is that, you know, there's an M and an E, and it's not me. It's more energy, more enthusiasm, more execution, more everybody, and you tend to encompass that. With people around you, and you said your intuition and all that does. I'm glad that worked, because we're sitting here because of it, and there's some pretty good people that represent Tony Jefferson within this whole thing that we've been this whole project that we've been working on. And it's really been an honor to come in here and just tell people that what we're doing is powered by Tony Jefferson. And then hearing the Sasura, you can just hear that, right, Perlita? You can hear that it's solid. It's what we do, and we're blessed to know that that cloth is cut. We went to the same seamstress. It's been pretty awesome. But when there's 2 minutes left, Tony, and the game's on the line, whether you're up or you're down, but you know what you got to do when there's 2 minutes left. And who do I turn to? What do I do? So how do you handle deadlines? Peacefully when they're yours, or they're not yours, but just plain ass they're due. And then we're in this damn thing, like you have to get to practice. Sometimes if you're not, you might have a family that's sick with this COVID, and then all of a sudden you have to take up for that. There's a lot of damn transition hurdles, obstacles. We're going to run a 100-yard dash. We're down, set, pump, the gun goes off. There's hurdles out there. Do you stop? No. You get over it, get over the race, and get it done. So in your thing is, how do you embrace everything to keep everybody hungry, but plain ass just handle your deadlines?
I think I perform better, and I think I lock in better. I think I embrace it even more and better once the so-called deadlines approach me. I kind of don't, like you said, it's just due. Like, you just got to get it done. And I've always felt like if there's a will, there's a way. So my sister used to say this when we were younger: if you got in there, you can get out. So
that's nice.
that's just kind of like, I just look at it that way, and I don't know. It's here, and then that's just what it is. Because to my left and right, if my prize is in front of me, everything to my left and right and behind me is just a distraction. So if what I want is in front of me and I'm looking everywhere else, I don't really want what's in front of me. So I kind of just keep my vision here. I keep my ears clear. I can, whatever noises that I'm hearing, whatever distractions, negative, because at this level, you can get on social media right now, and there's going to be a page or something that's saying something negative about you, right? So it's like, I'm so happy I got to get that early. I got to get that early in my career. Like, being at an institution like Oklahoma, I've got to experience what it's like to be the guy who played bad and gets attacked by the media. I've got to experience that. So that to me is just distractions. I told my wife when I see the comments and all that, I don't pay it any mind anymore, because I look at them as robots. They're not real people. That's how I look at them. If somebody is going to get on the internet, take the time out of their day to bring you down, to me, I can't consider them real people. I consider them robots. So, like I said, I just keep my vision clear and keep them like I said, the main thing.
In that talk, you used a couple words. You talked about embracing the element, and not exactly that, but you talked about embracing the element, not running from it. And Heidi, when we got to go to Canada, we have to embrace the elements. It's crazy. California guys, you go up there and we're coated, and we even ask for extra sweatshirts, and people are out there on a beach chair with a shirt off, because the sun's out. So, but you've done that. But you talked about being hungry and embracing it. If you're hungry, there's nothing else but distractions. I like that you place yourself as a COA. You're in the center of your own everything. Your own all of it. So no matter where you turn, left and right, you're still in the middle of it. You're never looking backwards. You don't look over your shoulder. Right. You just keep those shoulders there no matter what. You make a little 180, and all of a sudden you're looking behind you. No, you're not. You're looking forward. There's no I like that. So you're projected there. But when you get to the last play of a football game, And sometimes that's the game that's the play that everybody remembers. You know, people say last play game is the top 10's ever seen. You know, what do you leave for those to resonate within their fibers, within their homes, within their souls? And what do you leave for them to elevate their journey? And they can, like, you know, a quote that they can actually enhance, you know, their programs. You know, let's get one for the Gipper.
Yeah, I'm not really a quote creation guy, but I do feel like what I do is genuine. I feel like the spirit, speaking on the football aspect, the spirit of the game is in me, and I know that there's times where I remember my coaches with the Ravens are just, man, I can feel you today, man. I can feel you. Like, I just know that, like, my heart is in the game and it's genuine. And I've never ever in my career have had an issue with a teammate or player, because I genuinely love the companionship and growing. And like you said earlier, just, I get to learn so many different cultures. Being from California, I've learned, you know, just how they, like, other people from other states operate, becoming friends with them and traveling into their space, and being able to see their families and see how, you know, the Eric Weddles of the world, you know what I mean? Just guys who love it, you know what I mean? Guys who share the same mindset, you know what I mean? Eric Weddle, I didn't get to mention him much, but he was also very big, impactful, and mindset change for me. And as you can see, if you look at him, he was just at home coaching Pop Warner, and now he's in the Super Bowl. 4 weeks later. So that, I think that's connecting the dots too, of similar mindsets and how the situations came out.
You know that's awesome to hear, because here's what just happened, everybody. We just went tag time all the time. And when we say at the very end, tag time all the time, you know, we said at one point, how do we end the show? Well, really, it just ends right there. You know, we just took a knee with Tony Jefferson, and we truly accepted his knowledge. And Perlina said, Coach, I know how to end it. We just end it with tag time all the time, because it expresses everything that we should be doing in life anyways, truly accepting knowledge and enhancing ourselves. Well, so what happened for everybody tonight is we didn't see no nuggets or gems drop. We seen some seeds. So I like to say in the seeds itself, you know, your soul is incredible, and you enrich your soul, and you enhance your soul, and you're dedicated to your soul, and you sacrifice for your soul, and we get to embrace and benefit off the goodness of your soul. So we want to say thank you, Tony, for the enrichment, the elevation, the enhancement, the dedication, and the sacrifice that you do to give us an opportunity to be here and enjoy an incredible session. So that is truly. Patrick, thank you for being on. Everybody out there, Heidi, Perlina, you guys, Project. Hey, we got those 9s, Tony. Let's get those 9s up and around. But, hey, it was awesome. Thank you, Tony. Appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you all. Appreciate you, Neil.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, guys.
All right. So stay on a bit. If you want, we could talk. But he ends it with the song, and then we're good to go. But you guys, thanks a lot. Is that you there, Boyda?
Yeah, that's me.
Awesome. So you guys from the other side of the world, on the northern phase of it. Thanks a lot. I see that you're kind of cuddled up, so you might be a little cold. But thanks a lot, guys. Everybody. I just want to thank you guys for being a part of this whole journey for what we've been doing. Okay, it's literally been a year that we started to do this thing. So thank you guys very much. Awesome. Tony Sweet, my brother, thank you very much. James, thanks for being a part of what we do.
Thank you, buddy, for inviting me.
Hey, we got another one, and this one's in the bank. We're ready to go. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great job, folks. Have a good night.
Come on.
Night.
All the time.
Good night.
Come on, I take a knee, I take a kid and make him see, make believe in chasing his dreams and destiny. Truly accept the knowledge, a part of the recipe. In order to have an impact, I first must invest in me. We sowing seeds, locally, globally, overseas. Integrity, dignity, yeah, we living by both of these. Seeds of my players had to take a knee to COVID please. The police keep taking knees on our neck, how we supposed to breathe. Now look at me, I'm leading the movement like Booker T. Let's look at the aftermath when Kaepernick took a knee. When MLK took a march, Coretta Scott took a seat. I look defeat in the eyes and I declare victory.